Welcome to my manga. I am Agent Manga, and Ragnarok is back again. And this chapter is just going to finish off the backstory of Shiva and Raiden. Wait, Rager. Yeah, Rager. No, Raidra. Rager. I'm just gonna call it Raidra. Him, Rager. Raidra. I'll just change between the two of them, because I can't quite get the name right. So we start off with the opening page. It's just like Shiva being lazy, laying on a tiger, while Rager is just like doing a handstand, while one hand is like where one of his hands are crossed, and while his other hand, like, remember, Rager has 4 arms, so 2 hands are holding him up, the tiger, and Shiva, who's, I love the look of the tiger. It's like, what the hell is going on? Why are there these 2 people just on top of me and holding me up? It looks like Rager is just like reading a book. I don't know the right. It looks like Japanese writing. I don't know what it says. And we start off with like with basically a whole lot of gods basically saying, oh, look at these 2 idiots trying to get to the top of the Indian gods. That's destruction and storm. Because honestly, if a guy was called the god of destruction, I'd basically be terrified. And since it has been stated that Shiva is the strongest god of destruction, so doesn't that mean that he's stronger than Beerus? And these 2, Rager and Shiva, just did all they could to defeat. Went around just beating up a whole bunch of gods. Like, there's this guy with a whole bunch of other lesser gods around him, and like, it's just like, I think he's eating something that are like skulls. Rager and Shiva just go at him and just pummel him to the ground. It's just like, doesn't really seem, it seems like it was a difficult fight, but not that difficult. It's like a mid-diff fight for the 2 of them. And then like everybody starts noticing, hey, didn't they just defeat those gods? It took them to take down the Ajara clan, which is, I don't know much about Hindu mythology, but this is like what I know. There are 2 different sets of Indian gods. The Ajaras are like, I'd have to say, the bad gods. This is like all I know. Don't crucify me. This is like the one fact I know about like Indian mythology besides Shiva and Ganesh. And apparently Indra is in this mythology, but like there are the Ajaras and the other type of gods. I don't remember their names. The only reason that I remember Ajara is because of Ajara's wrath. That's the only reason. So that's why I know the Ajaras, they are like the bad gods, so that's what I thought. That's what I'm getting at. So they're all gods, they're evil, well, not evil, they're bad gods. Like, I guess it's relative. Then like Ajara, Shiva and Rager just go around just beating up gods. And then people just start following them around, wanting them to get to the actual top of the Indian gods. And then Raidra and Shiva just keep going. They keep beating up gods like Bishat. I can't even. I'm only gonna say the ones. I'm gonna say the titles. They defeat the Lord of Evil. The Grand. I'm not even gonna say that name. They defeat like a whole bunch of gods, like the guy who conquered death, the one who conquered death, that god. I'm probably not going to say any of their names because I don't want to because I'm probably going to butcher them. And it's just like, it's such a good chapter just to show what the struggle that these guys went through. We don't really see many fights, which I've seen people complain about, but we're just about to get to it. And really, I haven't really been enjoying the Shiva versus Raiden fight. Like, I have a theory on how the fight's going to keep going on at the end of this chapter, but I'll talk about that later. And then just Shiva and Raiju just keep beating up gods continuously. Like Shiva defeats the one with 3 eyes god, the lion with wings god, the one who steals god, just a whole bunch of just gods. One who has snakes around his neck. Like, no offense, but Indian gods have, Indians worship a lot of weird gods. Like a guy who has snakes around his neck. I don't really know why that would make him a god. I'm not trying to say anything bad about your religion, anybody who's Hindu. I actually quite like the religion. It's quite peaceful, even though it has quite a bit of warring and demons and all that, but it's fine. I actually see it as a pretty good religion. And then we get to Rudra, who just basically takes on just as many gods as Shiva. And then we get to the big fight. Like, then you have the god of fire, Agni. Yeah, Agni, the Hindu god of fire, Agni, and the god of water, Vishnu. Varshna. I'm keeping that in. And they do get defeated. Like, Shiva defeats the god of water and Raiju defeats the god of fire. Then it's off to Indra, who's like the god of lightning, and I love, like, this is my favorite design in the whole chapter. It's just like Rudra. Indra. His hair is just like all, it looks like, the best way I can describe it is that it reminds me of Killua's hair when he goes into his god mode, when he goes into god speed. And like, although his hair is kind of like covering his eyes like a hentai protagonist, except there have been other characters besides hentai protagonists, and it's just like, Indra like has, I don't know what it is, it kind of looks like I don't know what it is. It looks like either a tattoo or a brand, because it has like these symbols. When I first saw it, it looked like he had been attacked in the middle, but when I looked at it more clearly, it looked like there were symbols, so I don't know if it's a tattoo or if it's like a brand, because it definitely looks like it was made instead of, when I first looked at it, it'd been just an attack. And I just love Indra. He's just like smoking a cigarette, being like, bring it on. And then Rudra just goes up, god of thunder, god of storms versus god of lightning. And wait, does that mean that Rudra doesn't have control of lightning, even though he's the god of storms? So wait, is Rudra like the god of storms, like in the middle of the sea storms with no lightning, that type of storm? When I first heard of Rudra, I thought, oh, so he's similar to Zeus in mythology. No, Rudra does defeat Indra, and then they go on to the real heavy hitters, the god of creation Brahma and the lord of preservation Vishnu. And this is one of the only other things I know about Hinduism. I looked up how Shiva came to exist. Like, I wanted to know like how he was in mythology. It was like, I think it was these two gods were fighting over which one of them was the strongest. Then I think a pillar of fire came out, and then like one went really high, the other one went really low. And then they found Shiva eventually. I don't know the details, but that's what I heard. And also, fun fact about Rudra. In mythology, Rudra is just another name for Shiva. They're just like two sides of the same coin. Like, it's sometimes shown as a split personality, like Rudra is the other side of Shiva. And it's pretty good shown if you want to have a look at it in mythology. Like, they look really similar, but in this one page, before they start fighting Vishnu and Brahma, it's split down the middle, since it kind of show, if you want to look at it, it's their split personality. They eventually do defeat Brahma and Vishnu, which it really looks like a hard fight. Like, they're sweating, they're panting, they're just like, oh god, that was difficult. And then they beat like 1,115 gods. But if you're wondering, like, didn't Shiva said that he has the back of all of like 101,116 gods? Yeah. These two get to the top of like the Indian gods domain, and it's just like Shiva's like, oh my god, it's so amazing up here. You're right, Rudra. Let's just. And he says, look, Rudra, I think that's our village over there. Like, it's so far away, like it's so high that they could probably see the whole Indian god kingdom. And then, like, Shiva's just like being all happy and go lucky and just going all hyper when Rager is saying basically one god is enough to rule over everything, so we're gonna have to fight. And Shiva doesn't want to do it. Like, when Rudra does it, Shiva just says this, he really just starts wanting to cry because he doesn't want to fight his friend, but he knows that, yeah, if it's the two of them, there can't really be two kings of the Indian gods, so they get ready to fight. And Shiva just basically says, I'll dance all night, and they start fighting, and it's just like, they nearly throw the identical moves. I think, yeah, it's all of them are the identical moves. Like, they just keep doing the same thing as each other. Like, they're so close, I'd have to say. They know each other's fighting styles the best, so they fought alongside each other, and they are, I'd have to say, the two strongest of the Indian gods. And they two just keep fighting, like, keep bringing it. And since they are technically in mythology the same character, I do get why. And eventually Shiva does overwhelm Rudra, and basically it's revealed that Shiva has been holding back because he doesn't want to kill his friend. He's basically saying to Rudra, please stay down, Rudra, stay down. Don't get up, I don't want to kill you, Rudra. You'll die. And Rudra just keeps coming up because he wants to be the king of the Indian gods. And Shiva just starts thinking, I'll give up, I'll just yield after his next attack, and then Rudra basically just keeps getting hit. We found out that Shiva is way more powerful than Rudra. And we also get a kind of sweet flashback that I really like. It's just like you see Shiva and Rudra as kids. Like, you see the tiger, you see the cow from the earlier chapter. It's just like, it's kind of sweet. And then Rudra gets ready to fight. Again, after thinking, yeah, this is us. We are brothers. We are going to fight and prove which one of us is the stronger one. And then, when Shiva's like on the ground, he like is about to give up. He's about to say, Rudra says, I give up. Before Shiva can even say, I lose. And Rudra realizes that, yeah, Shiva's been holding back, and it's kind of like, he feels like kind of dishonored. I think this is the reason why in this chapter, I'll get to it later on, but why they kind of have that falling out. And like Rudra and Shiva are just like, Shiva's like, what about your dream, man? It's like, it was your dream. Gods don't have dreams. That's so rare. And then like all the other like the top 5 opponents that Shiva and Rudra had, like Vishnu, Brahma, the water and fire gods, and Indra, like they are all there, and we get to see that, yeah, these are the top of the Indian gods. And like Rudra does accept that, yeah, he's not as strong, so he can't be the king of the Indian gods. Shiva is the strongest. He's the king of the Indian gods. And then Shiva and Rudra just pump fist, and I don't know how this worked. Like, my personal thoughts was that Shiva would have killed Rudra in this final fight, because I called that he was going to fight each other, and like Shiva was going to kill Rudra. Like, Rudra was not going to stop. Shiva was going to beat Rudra and just kill him. And like Shiva was going to like get the tattoos to remember his friend. But it turns out that I'm gonna say it's god magic. Like, god magic Rudra gives Shiva the tattoos. And then Rudra just says, "Good luck, my friend," and he just walks away. And Shiva goes to the top of the Indian gods while everybody's saying Shiva, 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 Shiva. And then we cut back to the fight between Shiva and Raiden, which is in color, which I absolutely love. Like, Shiva is still doing headbutts, like, and Shiva's like, "I will not lose," and I don't know why. I just hated, like, I don't know why, but I didn't like Shiva's shorter hair in, like, this flashback. I really, prefer this type of hair for Shiva. And, like, Shiva says he will not lose, he will not give up, and it's just, he's basically saying to himself, if I didn't give it my all, if I didn't do everything I could to defeat this guy, then you would be pissed at me, Rudra. He doesn't even know that Rudra is still alive to this day, and Rudra is just like, he's in the far back in the Colosseum. He's like at the very tippy top, and he's watching the fight, like he's watching his friend, and he just wants to make he's watching the fight. He definitely wasn't, after I found out that he was still alive, he was definitely going to be watching the fight. And then Brahmu comes up to him, Raidru gained a kind of a cool cloak, and on his face there's a scar. I wonder, he didn't have that when he left Shiva, so clearly this scar came from somewhere, maybe another god or something. And then Brahmu shows up wanting to talk to him, and then all the top 4 other gods, Indra, Vishnu, and the fire and water gods, Vanu and Agan. I'm gonna say that. Vara and Agu. Agu is the fire god, which I've already probably mentioned. It's just people, they're saying, yeah, this is probably one of the hardest fights Shiva's been in, because Raiden is probably is using an untapped power, so it's just Raidru is just really wanting Shiva to win. He does not want his friend to lose, and his friend is, he's the most compassionate of us all. They all mention that, he's the most compassionate, even though it was kind of a dick before, but he's the most compassionate of them all. But when it comes to fighting, there's nobody who loves it more than anybody else. And I just love Indra in this chapter. He's got the best design so far. I'll have to reread the chapters to find a better design, but I just love Indra's design with just the cigarette. He kind of reminds me of Sanji a little bit. And he's I'd have to say, my favorite Straw Hat, just by default, I just have to say he's my favorite Sanji. But he's just really cool, he's just, and we get to see his eye, I believe that, these guys are all at the top of the Indian gods. And I'm saying, Shiva is pretty powerful. I'm pretty sure the reason that there are so many Greek gods is because Zeus thought, oh, the Greeks are obviously the strongest. But I would have loved to, see, this guy who I love the design of, Indra, just having a fight, because I'd love to see, because, if you remember Naruto, Indra was his first reincarnation. Indra was a part of Naruto, and Indra here, I love Indra. Sasuke's Indra, he's kind of a whiny one. And and they state that in this chapter, while he fights now, he's no longer called Shiva. He is right now Rudra, the god of storms. And he says his line that he said to Rudra when they were about to start their fight, "How about we dance all night?" And he's just ready to fight at full power. I wonder if the tattoos that Rudra gave to Shiva, if they were I don't know, say some of his power, if that was like him giving up a large amount of his power to Shiva so that they could both be the kings of the gods. So that Shiva could be like the king of the god undisputably. Because like I'm pretty sure that like Vishnu, Brahma and all that, they probably could have like teamed up on Shiva and defeated him. But say with the power added from Rajdru, they're perfectly fine now. So it's pretty good, this chapter. And I think it's just like a warrior's pride thing that like Shiva, why Rajdru left and didn't see Shiva again, because he felt like as a warrior his pride was unredeemably broken. Like he could, I think like I'm gonna say it like maybe Rajdru was became a monk kind of, but monks are never mind. Like they are, a definition of a monk is like a religious person. I'm not saying like he's a peaceful guy, he doesn't do combat anymore. And like that scar he got is like from somebody attacking him, but like defeating him. But like I don't believe Rajdru fights anymore because his pride as a warrior was damaged so much. And like I got a theory on how like Shiva is going to be fighting and how the fight will change to be like more interesting, because I didn't really like the fight before because it's just like super generic. Like this guy hits you with say X hit, and this guy hits me with a punch. Like yeah, that's kind of like how Lu Bu and like Thor fought, but that's like one of the worst fights. Like if say you introduced like maybe the reason why like Raiden has been holding back and like he hasn't been using like sumo moves. Like when he starts using his sumo moves, then things will start getting seriously. Like I love the previous arenas that have been going on, and I kind of hate it. Like I really liked it when they introduced like London and like that water field, and I was like, oh, that I hope they're like in a sumo ring. That would be awesome. But no, it's just another boring arena. Like I would have loved it to be like a sumo ring and they just fight in the ring. Just like be a sumo fight, like they grab each other, they tackle it. Yeah. Like a sumo fight. But then like Shiva can like, I hope it like becomes like a sumo fight. Like Shiva sending out shockwaves, like hitting him with his palm, sending out shockwaves and just blowing Raiden back. Raiden coming in with a sumo palm, just blowing each other back. Like, make it more interesting instead of just punches. Because any dusty old guy can throw a punch, but say make it more complicated, make it more skill-based. That has been my problem with this fight. Like, Jack the Ripper, like all the other fights besides Thor versus Lu Bu has been, like, had a little bit more. Like, Thor versus, like, Adam versus Zeus, that was a good fight. That was just like full slog. You really like the characters. It was a really good fight, and those had to be like the strongest fight of them all. Like the two strongest characters that I would have said would have been held into the end. And like I'm saying that Thor is still the strongest Norse god, so like Loki and both Zeus won't be as powerful as say like I'm gonna say right now I think Shiva's gonna win this fight. And I guess this chapter I've just been like listing off every single thing that I think will happen and the end of the fight. So Shiva I think is gonna win because of his backstory, and like the humans just can't get ahead. I think like the gods are about to try to snuff this out. Like the gods are going to just not going to deal with this stuff. They're going to send out their heavy hitters and just squash these humans. I think that Shiva is like a heavy hitter, that's why they send him out. So I think they're gonna save like some characters just to like squash these little humans. And that's basically it for the chapter. And I couldn't really find a good place to end it, but I'll end it now. So this is like, comment, subscribe, turn on notifications, and